Yes, that's Kid Creole and the Coconuts. Annie, I'm Not Your Daddy. And it's time to go. BBC Radio 2. Sarah Clocks after 5 tomorrow with us. From Gogglebox and, of course, many dramas and TV shows. Sheila Hancock with us. And the campervan guy, Martin Dorey. Good evening. Same? Yeah. 1-0, I think.
BBC News at 5 o'clock. This is Harvey Cook. Cabinet ministers have rallied around Boris Johnson after yesterday's confidence vote failed to settle questions about his future. The government's working on plans to identify petrol stations that don't pass on fuel duty cuts as petrol prices reach new highs. And why a metal detectorist in Jersey might be worth a ring if you get into trouble on your honeymoon. Ministers have supported Boris Johnson's course to move on from the Partygate scandal and concentrate on delivering the government's priorities after last night's confidence vote. The Prime Minister was supported by 211 Conservative MPs, but more than 40% of them opposed him. The Foreign Secretary, Liz Truss, said it was time to move on.
The Prime Minister remains committed to our agenda. He's already delivered on Brexit. He's delivered on COVID, on helping the economy recover. He's delivered on supporting Ukraine. And that's what the Cabinet want him to carry on doing, and that's what the country wants him to carry on doing.
Some of the rebels have called for unity after yesterday's vote, but many are still publicly questioning how long the PM can continue in the job. Lord Frost is a former Cabinet Minister.
Both sides need to respect the result. The Prime Minister's opponents got to accept the fact that he won, and his supporters and the Prime Minister himself, I think, have got to accept that a change of policy is needed. When nearly 150 of your own MPs vote against you, that is a sign of a big problem.
The RMT union has announced 3 days of strike action, which it says will shut down the entire rail network in England. More than 50,000 workers are expected to walk out on the 21st, 23rd and 25th of this month in a row over pay and job cuts. A government source has told BBC News that a plan to name and shame petrol stations that fail to pass on cuts in fuel duty is still in the works. The RAC has warned that average fuel prices could hit £2 a litre soon. Here's our political correspondent Peter Saul.
Forecourt prices have hit another record high today. Petrol now costs an average of just over £1.78 per litre, while diesel has reached more than £1.85. The Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, announced a fuel duty cut of 5 pence per litre in his spring statement. But amid concerns that motorists weren't noticing any difference at the pumps, a plan to name and shame errant petrol stations was briefed to newspapers. A formal announcement on the policy was expected last week, but it's yet to materialise. The Petrol Retailers Association, meanwhile, insists its members have passed the fuel duty cut on.
A study has found that drinkers suffering the worst effects of alcoholism did not change their consumption after the introduction of Scotland's minimum unit price 4 years ago. Public Health Scotland also reported that the change led to some people cutting back on food and energy. Here's Lorna Gordon.
This study found no clear evidence that the policy in Scotland of setting a minimum price of 50 pence per unit of alcohol had led to any changes in consumption, especially among people drinking harmful levels. Researchers found that some people had experienced increased financial struggles as they were spending more on drinking. They also said there was no clear evidence that minimum pricing caused negative consequences such as increased crime or a shift to illicit substances. The Scottish Government said it would carefully consider these latest findings.
The EU has agreed a law to introduce a standard phone charger in Europe, despite opposition from Apple. The USB Type-C charger will become obligatory from autumn 2024. Apple says it'll slow innovation. The European Commissioner for the Internal Market, Thierry Breton, said the decision would have a positive impact on the environment.
These new rules will save more than 1,000 tons of electronic waste per year, and also in addition to an annual reduction of almost 200 kilos of CO2, which is an equivalent of 10 million smartphones, and 2,600 tons of raw materials. And we know these days how critical are raw materials more than ever.
A couple from Bristol have been reunited with the wedding ring they lost on their honeymoon in Jersey. Richard and Anne Wetter assumed it had gone forever until a stranger with a metal detector came to their aid. Tyler Allen picks up the story.
The couple's honeymoon had a choppy start when Richard realised he wasn't wearing his wedding ring after enjoying a day at the beach.
So I went up to the top, looked through all my bags, went down again, started digging around in the sand, went to the cafe there, and then I was driving back, and I was in a really, really grumpy mood.
When they returned to their hotel, a member of staff suggested getting a local metal detectorist to track it down. Within 10 minutes of searching, the ring was found. Richard thanked the detectorist, saying he turned what could have been a disaster into a valuable lesson learned.
In the city, the 100 share index closed down 9 points at 75.99, and the weather largely dry and clear this evening, but showery rain will push in from the southwest and spread across much of the UK overnight. Remaining dry in northern Scotland, overnight lows of 14 Celsius in London, 11 in Cardiff and Belfast, and 10 in Edinburgh. BBC News, it's 5:05.
Harvey, thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you Sarah Cox.
And thank you very much, Mr. Steve Wright, for another fabulous show. Love the chat with Tom Allen. I love that man. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, welcome to your chortlesome Tuesday tea time extravaganza. Allow me to advertise our wares through the medium of music. We've got songs that'll make you dance like a maniac and feel so happy. Features that are tricky, but don't you worry, child, if you can't speak French, they're lyric-based. Plus you text us whether you're relaxing on some green grass, looking in the fridge and trying to exert some self-control, or if you're painting over some overpass graffiti. 88291. As it's a Tuesday, there's Fast Track plus first and last a half hour and have a disco nap before the Sarahs, plus no sweat and old Greek to me. I'm excited. Blanche is excited.
I wouldn't have bothered coming at all, love.